Well, hello friends, and welcome to another Ask Zach. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about Jazzmasters, and this is based on my kind of jaundiced or negative view of Jazzmasters, during my lifetime of playing the guitar, and it's just that I'd never spent time with one and I didn't get it. And like so many things, it's like you gotta dig in and really play one and live with one for a little bit to really get what the Jazzmaster is all about and why, where they're applicable and such. So that's what today's episode is about. Why a Jazzmaster? All right. So if you've been watching the show and enjoying it, please go down in the corner and subscribe. If you've already subscribed and you'd like to support the show, then please go to askzach.com and you can go to the store there and you can pick up a nice shirt like this, or a hat or a mug, or there's also tip jar information in the description of this video. All right, so first off, we need to talk about this Jazzmaster that I have today. So Dan Strain, Danocaster, let me borrow this guitar. This is a 1965 Jazzmaster, and it has been refinished. Dan got the guitar from Grun a couple of years back, and it had been stripped, and so it looked like Elvis Costello's Jazzmaster that he played during his heyday. But he decided to refinish it, and he did this beautiful Olympic white refin on it. Looks amazing, of course. And let me just tell you a bit about this era of Jazzmaster. So 1965 is the only full year where you get dot markers and binding on the neck. The headstock is still a bit smaller. It will get larger in 66. And this is very, very unique, are these tuners. So these are Fender Grover machine heads, and they have these really cool kind of artfully squared off looking pearloid buttons on them. And if on the back here, on the round part of the housing, it has the backwards F on there, the Fender logo, the Fender F. And it's very, very cool. Maple neck, round lamb, the thin veneer fingerboard, alder body. You got gray bottom pickups. Normal, Jazzmaster wiring. You've got the witch hat knobs. This is a bit of a mongrel, and it's got an earlier tremolo system here. This is the patent pending with the stiffer spring that like Nels Cline and some other guys like. That's actually from the early 60s, not from the mid 60s. And probably the biggest modification on the instrument, besides the refin, is it's got the Mastery bridge. And the Mastery, of course, allows you to use 10 through 46 or lighter on one of these guitars, because they have very little break angle. If you look here, I don't know if you can see it, but the string has very little break angle. And on using a vintage bridge, you really need to use heavier strings, at least 12s or such. But the Mastery allows you to use lighter gauge strings, and that they stay put. So that's a nice modification. So, yeah, that's the guitar. And again, a masterful refin by old Dan. And yeah. All right. So of course I started off by playing some Ventures, which of course they used Jazzmasters a lot until they went to Mosrite guitars. And then I played a little bit of Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line. And the reason I did that was because Wayne Moss, who played guitar on that, used a Jazzmaster. And so, most of the time you don't think of a Jazzmaster as a good chicken picking instrument, but it does quite well, Not too shabby. So again, this video has made me kind of understand the Jazzmaster. So first, I had to get the fact that the Jazzmaster has a lot of different tones in it, but it's always kind of thinner and wider than most other Fender guitars. So it just has kind of more of a I guess hi-fi is kind of, what you would call it. But it's like, when you go to the back pickup, I mean, it's a really ringy, But also, you can chicken pick on it, and one of the things that's really cool is that you can do pedal steel type bends and use the tremolo bar on it, and that's because it doesn't go out of tune as much as like a Strat tremolo would if it were floating, and that's just because of this design. So I can do something like here. I'll do some pedal steel type bends. And then while I still have it bent, I can use the vibrato on here. Now, of course, you can also do this on a guitar with a Bigsby, but most of the time Bigsbys are on 335s or Gretches or something like that. And this really has a more of a bright, twangy sound, and then with this really cool tremolo. So here's an example of that. So that's really nice, because part of the challenge in trying to replicate pedal steel stuff is the fact that you don't just have the one of the notes changing and the other one's staying the same, but you also have the fact that the pedal steel player is able to move the bar and get vibrato while they're doing it. And so that kind of allows you to do that. And you can do all these pretty things. Really pretty. So that's the bridge pickup, which again is really it's kind of wide and thin. And then really the best sound, in my opinion, from this guitar is both pickups, which normally I don't like dual pickup sounds. Like on Teles, that's the sound I use the least. I'll either use the neck or the bridge pickup most of the time. I usually don't use together. On a Strat, same thing. I don't like the combination sounds. I like single pickups. Les Paul's 335, same thing. So, but this has a really cool, dual pickup sound. Here, I might as well go full on. I'll get some delay going. A really neat sound for for single notes or chords. Yeah, and that's another quality of this instrument. It really does. You can strum on it well. Unlike some others. And that was the back pickup again. And here's the neck pickup. So even the neck pickup still is a little more open sounding. And I've seen guys put Jazzmaster pickups in like the neck position on a Tele, and I was kind of like, why would you want to do that? But now I get it, because again, you have this kind of wide but more open sound, and you can even place that sounds really nice on this. So yeah, these are really, really cool guitars. Now I'm not going to go out and buy one, but now I get it. So I'm thankful to Dan Strain for kind of killing my prejudice to Jazzmasters, because I kind of thought they were kind of this kind of weird, ugly duckling, mistake by Leo Fender. I know that's totally horrible on my count, but yeah, I get it now. And I also get it why a lot of players that use big pedal boards and a lot of effects like Jazzmasters, and that's because of the thin, wide sound allows you to put more effects on it. Because if you put that on another guitar, it's going to get bogged down in it. But because of the wider sound that doesn't have as much mid-range to it, you can put fuzz and flange and a bunch of stuff on there, and it still kind of sounds like something instead of mush. So I get it. I get it now. So very thankful to Dan for letting me borrow this. So now a little bit of lesson. So this is just a cool thing that I learned from Dan Strain, and I just thought it was fun, and it's a nice movable chord shape. So I'll just play it and then I'll describe it. All right. So of course you have your normal kind of D, chord that's in kind of the A shape, and then you have this, which we end up, kind of moving around. So you have your on the A string, you're on the 9th fret, and on the D string, you're on the 7th fret, and on the G string, you're on the 9th fret, and so you get this, and then you move it down 2 frets. And this shape can be moved all over. So experiment with that. But so I like using it in the key of D, because you get this. Because this voicing, it's really just an E7, the last one, but it just sounds interesting because of how the notes are spread apart. When Dan was playing, something like that, not exactly like that, he was actually playing it in the key of E, and you get different, because of the open strings, it sounds even more kind of, I get what more major sounding, less less like sixth or something like that. So you get this kind of thing. As opposed to playing in D, where you get. So. All right, so that's the Jazzmaster, and we're going to do a little bonus for today because this is another guitar that Dan let me borrow, and so I'm just going to grab this real quick. All right, so just for a little bonus, this is a 1967 Starfire V by Guild, and Dan let me borrow this also. And these are really, really cool guitars, and they're a lot more affordable than a 335. And you can watch out for different models because the red ones have mahogany bodies. And then the other colors have a maple body, which is like a 335. But the mahogany body gives it a warmer sound than a 335 and really makes for a killer bridge pickup sound. However, it gets a little dark for the neck. So what Dan did was Dan got a Jason Lollar Firebird pickup and stuck it in there. And it fits in there well. He just needed a different surround on it. And yeah, he was able to pop that in. So for all you guys that are, kind of 335 mad and you know, can't afford, you know, one from 59 through 65, these are much more affordable. They're very, very cool. They're similar build, similar quality, and you can kind of mess with them if you want to. Yeah, and 67 is a really cool year because of the change in construction on them and such. So anyway, so this is just a little bonus, something to check out if you're you know, jonesing for a vintage 335 but don't want to pay, you know, 20 grand. So these are out there and they're really cool. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a good week and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.